Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.
What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Welcome to the Entrepreneurial Journey with your host, Dave Westcott. The Entrepreneurial Journey is a weekly podcast that streams live every Tuesday at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on Dave's YouTube channel and LinkedIn profile. Now here's Dave with this week's episode.
And this morning I have with me special guest Martin Tirado, CEO of SIMA, which is the Snow and Ice Management Association. Good morning, Martin.
Good morning, Dave. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here.
Yeah, I'm super excited to have you on the call. We've worked together for the last 4 or 5 years, so it's awesome to have you on the podcast. And I'm a big believer in associations, so I'm glad that we're able to do this and have the CEO of the organization on the show. Associations, I think, are just absolutely paramount, whether you're a supplier, whether you're a vendor, or whether you're a participant in the association. And our association, SIMA, is very niche to the snow and ice industry, which makes it very, very powerful. And I just love what an association brings to the table. Could you share a little bit about, what are the benefits? What are the reasons why a snow and ice provider would want to join an association?
Well, yeah, you're an advocate for associations and joining, so I appreciate that. Of course, I am too, because my entire career has been in organizational management or association management. So the main thing that I've noticed is really it's this concept of the better together, and I know that's part of the title of today's podcast. Is when you try to do something on your own, you're gonna have more struggles than you are when you find people who are of like-minded, same field, same aspirations, and that you can kind of share resources and connections and tips learned and even failures learned, that you can kind of help each other. And the more that people do that together, I think they're long-term will be better off than if they did it alone. And that's why I think the longevity and impact that associations have had for years. You take a look at some of the American Bar Association, the Dental Association, that have been around for over 100 years. Why they continue to still have massive impact on their communities because and their members, because they provide this value of people of like-minded, same industry being together. And kind of to relate that to SIMA is if you're committed to working and trying to get better in the snow and ice industry, we really kind of have the full gamut of training, resources, education, advocacy, connecting members to other members to really help you. You just have to, we need companies like yours, Dave, to kind of just step up and say, I want to participate and be a part of this.
Yeah, we love SIMA, and I mean, we got into SIMA actually because when I bought my first snowplow, I didn't even know what snowplowing really was, and the idea was, I put the blade on the ground and I was like, is that thing supposed to spark? Is this right? I didn't even know if it was doing it right. And I started just Google searching, how to plow snow, how to do this. And SIMA actually popped up. Nobody referred me to it. I didn't know about it. And I got some, and I learned, and I saw the training videos. And at the time there was, 6 or 7 training videos. And that was kind of my first, this is SIMA, and I used to call it SIMA. That's how I used to pronounce it, was SIMA. And so I ordered the training videos, and that was my first run. And those training videos for me were life changing because it showed how to plow snow, how to windrow, how to use heavy equipment. It helped give me a leg up. And so I love what you're saying there, because it's one of the mission of SIMA is empowering snow and ice professionals. And so that's, really that mission. And so being a part of that association, I think, you get involved because it fills a need. What are some of the needs that you're seeing today? What are some of the blind spots that someone who's not in an association may be missing? Where can they level up? I know that's kind of three questions loaded into one, but really, what are the blind spots? What are what are those things that we need to be cognizant of?
Yeah, well, they wrap into each other, so that's good. Good question. Yeah, you kind of came in on the other side of it. We actually see a lot of entities, people or their businesses that have done well on they understand how to plow snow and to operate equipment, and they're good at that. What they don't really understand is how to create a business and all the things in business, the marketing, the relationships, the financial management. How do you, and then as you grow and become more of a manager, how do you delegate and find people's strengths? All those things, resource function as well too, getting people that are gonna work with you in a team focused environment. So we have a lot of, at our Snow and Ice Symposium, you've been to it several times for a number of years. It's our flagship event. We have a number of different education at that, but we try to help companies like, you really want to get better at the business side of the snow and ice management industry. We have a lot of resources there for you to kind of, help you grow. And that's where I kind of do think it's like, the blind spot. You talk about, what is it that someone is missing? Yeah. There's we have our impact study, SIMA's Snow and Ice Industry Impact Study, and there's something like 100,000 plus people actually working in the field. But what about the ones that, if you want to go from worker to learner to leader, and you want to take kind of those steps, you really need to kind of, be involved and get engaged with your community, probably even your, I'd even suggest your business community, chamber of commerce, that type of thing. But also the industry or the association that's dedicated to your field, and they'll have kind of the resources and information that you're looking to, again, go from, I'm not just a worker in the field. I want to be a learner and then a leader.
I love that. I love the business part that you're talking about. In fact, we adopted the EOS operating system, which many companies utilize to help them grow and have a nice business platform for leadership and staff and so forth. And, I heard about that through SIMA. I mean, I was at one of the symposiums. I don't remember which one, but there was a 90-minute class and there was somebody there sharing about how EOS changes your business. And, that helped me to scale, that helped me to grow, that helped me to add lots of revenue to the business, because that wasn't something that I had before, nor did I even really realize that I was missing it until I was, in the classroom. And so the classes and the teaching, and, I think that's an important part. Talk to us a little bit about how that works, because what I've noticed at the symposium is it's not the same set of classes every time. It seems like you're very purposeful and very tactful in ensuring that the content that we receive as snow professionals is always different, but it's always cutting edge, and it always keeps us coming back.
Yeah, well, we do a lot of surveying and even talking to our members about what they're looking for, both at the Snow and Ice Symposium, and then even whether it's virtual education or some kind of a regional event. And so we're constantly talking to them to see, like, hey, what's the next thing? What can be impactful and you take a look at to you, and then also your company. So that's kind of like some of the career levels. Like, can we help you? And then as owners, particular entrepreneurs really grow, is like, how can we also impact your workforce, your team members, and kind of drill down on the specifics of different educational topics. So yeah, we just kind of are always, and that's the nice thing about being, we're technically owned by the members. The members own SIMA, and we're, as we're governed by a board of directors. But we constantly try to find ways that we're interacting with members to kind of learn more and get better. I mean, just last week, for example, we held a strategic planning session that was just on the Snow and Ice Symposium. We had eight SIMA members that were attended all over the country. We
Yeah.
just had some of these essential questions like, what do you love about it? What's going to keep you coming back? And what's going to be new and different and fresh? After a few years, you don't think like, oh, I've kind of been there, done that. What's new? What's fresh? And we take that input and we put that into our plans every year.
Yeah, that's very cool. I love the way that you approach that, and I also love the way that you're bringing members in. What got you into snow? Like, why are you doing this? How did that happen?
Yeah. No, that's great. So I've always been in organizational management, kind of like I said earlier, I started right out of getting a bachelor's degree from college, and that was going to be in urban planning, and I decided to enter the workforce instead of going to graduate school. And I started for an organization here in the city of Milwaukee, kind of the area I'm from, and we were basically kind of community development, economic development, neighborhood development, and I worked with a local board of directors, and I kind of grew from there. Then after that, I worked for an association management company, so we managed different trade and professional societies from all different sectors. And then the challenge with that, it was, I reported to I worked with 5 different board of directors. So the next step in my career was to, work for one entirely. So I got hired by the board of directors at the time for SIMA, their previous executive director. There's only been 2 of us. There are only the executive director CEO position. There's only been 2 of us. The organization's only 26 years old. So in terms of organizations, we're still pretty young and we're still growing. But that person had resigned, and they were looking to fill the position by someone that had experience in association management. And it's one of these, it's one of these career fields you just kind of fall into, and it's either for you or it's not, and whatever. I've been around it long enough now too. I think it is it's exciting. It's different. It's definitely you want to do a lot of different things and kind of wear a lot of different hats. Get into organizational association management, because you'll do that.
So when you were a kid growing up, you weren't dreaming of being CEO of the Snow and Ice Management Association. It just kind of happened.
I had no other background in snow and ice except, I'm from the great state of Wisconsin. I try to hide the Wisconsin accent and the best possible that I can in that regard. But so I'm familiar with snow and ice, but with just kind of working in the background, a couple different trade associations prior to SIMA that I kind of had an experience of like what it was like, where it's company, trade is companies and companies grow.
It's you mentioned Wisconsin. When I think of Wisconsin, I think of cheese. I don't know if that's good or bad, but
we take pride in that. I think that's good. Yeah.
Okay, so we think of cheese when we think of Wisconsin. Now, that I had a broken ankle, and I've been going through this physical therapy, and I'm trying to get better, and it's taking forever. And I was at physical therapy actually yesterday, and they had this question on the board, and it was, what is stolen more than anything else in the world? And I was thinking about that, and I don't know. And I was like, bread. And they were like, everybody guesses bread. And I was like, okay. What is the most stolen thing in the world? And they said the most stolen commodity in the world is cheese.
What? I was going to say candy bars. That's the first thing I just think of, like someone going into a store and like, young kids like, I'm going to steal a Snickers bar or something like that.
Cheese is important, man. Cheese. It actually blew my mind. I would have never thought cheese. But I mean, cheese is such an important, like it's on pizza. I love pizza. I mean, cheese is on anything with cheese is good.
Yeah. That's kind of our philosophy here in Wisconsin as well too. Just you got something for lunch, just add some cheese to it. And
that's right.
Better.
And you know what? I went to Philadelphia and I found that Cheese Whiz is what makes the Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah. Right. Yep.
So we got to have cheese. So I'm glad that we crossed that hurdle. One of the questions I always ask, and it's one of my favorite questions, because being an entrepreneur is so hard. Building a business is so hard. Being an executive is so hard. And in many times it's a thankless job. Like you can do a million things right, but people focus on, the one negative thing. What's the toughest day that you've had as leader of SIMA, and how did you push through that? Would you mind sharing that with us?
Yeah, the toughest days I think is when you lose a member.
Mm.
And for the business comparison to like regular business, a customer, no one
Yeah.
likes losing a customer. And that hurts. Even if it maybe not even been the right fit, you had a relationship with somebody or some entity, and for some reason it just didn't work out, and someone's not gonna for us, they're not gonna renew. Maybe they're no longer even performing snow and ice services because it wasn't a good profit margins or a good business for them to be in. But when you lose a member, it hurts, and it's painful. You want to you create this organization, SIMA, because you want to be there and be a resource and help them grow. When someone doesn't renew and you lose them as a member or customer, there's just it's not easy. And I would say you kind of how you get through that. Let's say you have a few of those in a shorter period of time is you kind of gotta, what I do is I like step back and I contact like what I would say is the core lifelong members, such as yourself, people like that. And I kind of talk about like, what are some of the things that kind of reinforce like the things that you're doing well. And then you kind of hear like, yeah, like I still loved when we had, this speaker at an event, and that was amazing. That changed. And you hear from somebody, and that
Yeah.
changed the way I operate my business. That was amazing. Jack Daly was the name that it's like, oh God, I'm so glad I attended. And so that's how I kind of get through it. Is I kind of talk to people I would say are kind of then your core members, core customers, and they kind of reinforce like what you're doing, and you kind of come to the acceptance that you're not going to make everybody happy all the time. You're always going to have those challenges where you just weren't the right fit. That wasn't the right, and you just have to kind of keep moving forward through that and kind of not get I kind of learned sales later in life. I wish I would have younger. I'm not sure when you did in your life. You might have been very young, but I worked with this guy years ago, and he was only a college intern, and he's like, yeah, actually I wanted to get a job. He said that where people told me no, because you learn more by people telling you no than you do by people just constantly saying yes to you. He was like,
That's awesome.
yeah, I was like, and I was, I was still younger. I was in my 20s, but a college intern that he said that, I was like, that's really insightful. It's like, because you kind of have to go through some of that the pain of someone telling you no, they're not gonna buy from you, they're not gonna engage in your product or service. You'll learn a lot from that, and that's going to give you. It's just going to give you. I put it this way, I think it gives you just a tougher mindset to get through the low times and focus on the better times.
Yeah, that is awesome. Having said that, we're going to take a quick sponsorship break and thank our sponsor Western, for sponsoring this podcast. We're going to take a quick.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.
Thank you very much. We're back in action here with CEO Martin Tirado, and that was great, sharing what is the toughest day, and I can resonate with that. Losing a customer, losing a member, I can really resonate with that, because sometimes you lose a customer and you don't know why. You feel like you've done everything right. You feel like you've hit the mark. You feel like you've gone above and beyond for them. And sometimes the ones that hurt the worst are the ones that you've even had personal relationships or personal conversations with. And it sometimes it feels like you've not only, lost a client, lost a member, but sometimes you've kind of feel like you've lost a friend.
Yeah.
And that's not my favorite feeling. So I really resonate with that. And I'm sure that our listeners will as well. SIMA's done some really cool things over the last, 5-6 years, to enhance that experience for the membership. And I think two of those things that really stand out to me are the CSP and the ASM. And those designations, those certificates, those, you know, um, three letters at the end of your name,
Mhm.
however you want to put it, like those things mean something. And those things say, my business stands for excellence. My business, is on the forefront of professionalism. Talk to us a little bit about the methodology behind the CSP, the ASM. Talk about what you feel is the importance, in those designations and what they really mean, to a company.
Yeah, so CSP, Certified Snow Professional, you start there because that's the pinnacle one. And that's really for, I would say, leaders, owners, managers, that it really encompasses the full realm of working in, owning, operating, leading a snow and ice management company. It has 6 different sections that really kind of, I always kind of consider the essentials of snow and ice management. And then the ASM, Advanced Snow Manager, that's really kind of operations in the field work. Do you know the science behind snow and ice? Do you know that the weather patterns and operating specifics that are going to make you more efficient and more effective? Just all the parts of managing a winter storm. And what that kind of really means is kind of that professionalism, that you're committed to being a professional and enhancing your education in this career field, and that you've proven that by undergoing those education, and there's a test after each one, and you've shown that you've learned and that you have core competency to have those designations. The interesting comparison is kind of like in my sector. It's CAE, Certified Association Executive, and I've had that
Yeah.
for a number of years, and you can take a look at it, and it's like, and it even goes back. They do some surveying. The organization that manages that does some surveying as why people get it. And there's just there are some that's kind of like, hey, people wanted to do it to get another job, to they want to
Sure.
tell like get hired. But by and large, and I fall on this as well too. You got it and you maintain it just to kind of show it's like a personal pride and professionalism.
Yeah.
I'm not just in association management because, hey, you know what, you heard my background. I just like, I don't know, I just fell into this. It's like, no, I mean, I take this seriously. I've kind of committed to not only the essential courses, but then to continue education credits over time. I have to renew it every 3 years. And it kind of gives me something that, like, I feel like it's like a competency. I'm continually educating myself, and I kind of know what I'm doing. And I'm challenging myself, and it's just a pride in what you do. And my guess to be curious is kind of like, you have the designation, CSP. It's kind of like, what does it mean to you, Dave? What kind of value has it brought?
I love that. And I mean, I love it. I love the CSP because I feel like, I worked hard for it. Reading those books took time. Underlining those books took time. And then when I took it, you had to go find a local college, right? And then you had to go in and sit in a room,
Right.
and you had to take the test. So, like, I had to drive, I don't know what it was, 2.5 hours or something like that, to this Whatcom County college that administered the test. And then I had to go sit in there, and I don't know how long I had, 90 minutes, 3 hours, I don't remember, but it was like closed book. And I mean, I had to take the test, and I was preparing for it. And like, it was a pretty serious event, and it was not easy to take the test. And even, at the time that I took the test, I think I took it in 2016 or 17. I want to say something like that. So, at that time, I had already been, plowing snow, working in the snow industry for 12, 13 years. And at that time, there was still many things that I did not know. And there was things that it helped me level up on, from the marketing component to the business component to talking about sole proprietorships versus LLCs versus, there was major components to this of things that I didn't think of even along my business journey, that it kind of opened my eyes to things that I underlined and said, that was a really good nugget. And so not only did I learn while taking the CSP, getting the CSP was kind of a challenge, and it was hard. And so, like, it meant something to me. It wasn't just like, oh, that was really easy, and now here's my plaque on the wall. And then when I saw how many certified snow professionals there were, I think at the time a couple hundred, maybe 250. I don't know how many there are now, but that was cool. And then I got a little package in the mail, and it had a little ribbon, and it had my little pin, and it was like this nice little packet that I got that made me feel special. And then I realized there's not that many of us. There might be 20, 30,000 snow providers. I have no idea how many there are, but
Yeah.
I was one of a select few. And so that for me, meant something in my career. It meant that I was separate from the pack. And so I think, for me, that's why it was, really important.
Yeah, that's great to hear. Well, one, test taking isn't easy, particularly for when you become an adult. That's one of the reasons that you realize when you're younger. The education system actually trains us to take tests, and when you get out of that mentality, it's like it's hard to retrain yourself. And
Yeah.
actually, one of the barriers to the CSP is that there's people who are very afraid of just taking tests. They don't want to sit down for to take a test, and then. The second part of it is, you definitely are in a select group of that. There's roughly 300-ish people now. We get new ones every year, and there's ones that drop off. But the CSP and the highest level, we've noticed that the main reason people don't renew that is they leave the field. People just leave the career field. They don't need it anymore if they're completely different. They're completely different career now. But the people that do have it, I do think that is a high value is. When you go to now, even your own team members, to customers, potential customers, you can tell a story. You can tell a story about how you're part of the CSP, a group of people that are, there's not that many of them, and you've committed. You went through those steps that you just described to get the certification, and it wasn't easy.
Yeah. Is there any plans for any kind of liquid designation at SIMA, or is that not really on the topics of tables yet?
Yeah, we have a liquids training virtual program that you get a certificate for, but you don't necessarily get credentials behind it. The ASM, part of the ASM training, as ice management is one of the 4 sections of it, so you kind of get it from there. But who knows? Maybe it'll come up later on as there are becoming more adoption of liquids and using liquids for ice in the industry. So it could be something that comes up. Right now there isn't anything specific just to that.
Sure. The liquids training is awesome, by the way. So if you're out there and you're listening and you want to learn more about liquids, go to the SIMA website and check out that liquids training. It's absolutely phenomenal. Learn at your own pace online. Type deal.
Appreciate that. Yeah, well, you've been through it, and it kind of, the nice thing about it is I think it takes out a lot of what I'd say is like some of the myths around liquids. Sometimes with liquids, it's a whole new tool for people, and then get kind of intimidated. Like, how do I train for this? How expensive is it going to be? Is it another equipment? Kind of takes out some of those things, and like you can get into some entry level or just basic essentials of using liquids at without a crazy amount of investment and in training, and that liquids virtual training program kind of takes you through that and how to kind of do an evaluation of where it would fit in your arsenal. But side note there, but
no, I think the more training, the more education you can get, the better. I've got really 2 things I want to get covered before we bring this in for a landing. And, one of those is, you've been in this industry a long time. You've seen people come, you've seen people go, you've seen very successful snow businesses, you've seen snow businesses that don't make it. And I think one of the questions I'd love to just learn from you on is, what do you think is the, number one most successful trait that any snow company can pick up on, learn, embrace, add to their arsenal? What's the number one thing that leads to success? If there is a number one thing, maybe it's a multitude of things, but in your mind, what leads to success in the snow industry?
Yeah, it probably is a multitude of things. The first thing, but kind of like the candy bars. First thing that hit my mind was safety.
Okay.
And safety, because it's going to control that does a lot of things. Safety is the umbrella, a lot of items underneath that, but what it's going to do is really help you control your costs and control your risks. One of the reasons that some companies are leaving the snow and ice sector is because of the cost of insurance,
Yeah.
and high stakes slip and fall claims and cases. And if you aren't doing some of both the internal safety procedures and also the practicing of safety on your customers' properties, such as the documentation, the route mapping, the site engineering plans, the operation side of it, like the windrowing you're talking about,
Yeah.
you're gonna then potentially have unsafe conditions on a property, and those are going to have exponential costs if it gets bad. So my sense is companies like the ones that have really been successful long term in snow and ice, you take a look at overall their safety records, and they're very good, particularly in an industry. And of course, let's not sugarcoat this entirely perfect. We're in an industry that there are slip and fall claims happen all the time. Everybody
Yeah.
has them. It's not like you're getting to zero. It's you're mitigating the ones that you do have so that they don't become exponential costs, and sometimes costs that can kill the business.
Yeah, that's awesome. I think that's a great tip. Safety is absolutely critical. Safety, you also don't want to lose key employees because something happens.
Yeah.
So, safety is absolutely critical. We've got the symposium coming up this year. The symposium is going to be in Pittsburgh. It's a great location. The symposium is one of my favorite things to do every year. I come in a few days early, and then I stay a few days late. I like to make a family vacation out of it. My
Yeah.
kids love to hang out on the showroom floor. They love to, get the Western hat on or get behind the Western plow or, get in the plow truck. They love to hang out with those guys, and stuff like that. So, we do that on our side, but the symposium is coming up. And the symposium is a big deal. We got really two components to the symposium. We've got the trade show floor, which is awesome because you get to see new products from Western, Fisher, SnowX, Frost, many other suppliers that are there. Cat, I love Cat, but anything in there. We get to see many pieces of equipment. We get to see how the equipment's working. We get to see new innovations. Awesome time on the trade show floor. And then we've got the learning component, which is, filled with keynote speakers and, all sorts of learning events. Like I mentioned, EOS. And then, we've got peer-to-peer connections. And talk to us a little bit about what's happening in Pittsburgh. What are we getting excited about? What is really to look forward to this summer?
Yeah, well, good intro, and I certainly look at the symposium generally as what is it really? It's amongst the education parts of it and the trade show. It's a celebration. It's a celebration of what this industry kind of has done and what we've done to kind of keep communities safe over the past winter season, and what are we planning for the next year to get better, to improve and help each other. And Pittsburgh is right in the middle of, what we call it, the Great Lakes area, kind of Midwest and to Northeast. The location's fantastic because we're right in downtown Pittsburgh, so there's a lot to do there. We're talking about the trade show component of it. Yeah, we do have it's over 125 different vendors, and it's from anywhere from large equipment, compact equipment, plows, spreaders. What's really kind of growing is also the software side of it.
Yeah.
Different technology that's out there to kind of help operations and efficiency and documentation, all the things that kind of come into the best management practices that you can do them through different software and tech sources. What's kind of growing too is you see some of the automation that's coming. It's already there in landscaping. It's getting there too in snow and ice. Just the lack of people who want to work in winter weather. We need more kind of automated robotic equipment, and that's growing and emerging. Usually a few of those are released at the and shown at the Snow and Ice Symposium every year. So there's always some new stuff. And the other thing I'm really excited about is the third week of June every year is, this next year our keynote speaker will be Don Yeager, who you've heard before.
Don is amazing.
He's incredible. He's former Sports Illustrated author, writer.
Yep.
He's written tons of books, both on the history side and on the sports side, and kind of relating the incredible lessons learned from athletics and professional athletics and how you apply those to business and business success. He has just incredible stories from the people that he's met in his career as a sports writer. His message is going to be absolutely fantastic. And again, it's and the third part of it, and we did this in our strategy session too, just last week of the symposium, is it's the networking.
Yeah.
And networking isn't just like, hey, that we had a cool time together, we had some drinks and had lunch or whatever it was. It's you exchange a lot of the business to business exchange is just fantastic. It's leads, potential leads, someone potentially working for, hey, I have an account in an area that's outside of my, where I normally work. Are you open to servicing this type of property? It's incredible. Some of the stories I've heard where people have garnered, I would say, 6-figure contracts based on attending, being around hundreds, it's 2,000 total attendees, being around thousands of other snow and ice contractors for 4 days. Just that business, that B2B connection is fantastic.
It is awesome. Some of the relationships that I've forged over the years have helped me grow my business. So some of those connections, absolutely imperative. It's the dinners, it's the getting to know one another, it's doing other ventures together. Like we've done other business ventures with people that we've met at the symposium because we connected, because we're like-minded, because we're focused there. Don Yeager is absolutely incredible, and he is one of, I think, 6 or 7 people to beat Michael Jordan in a game of one-on-one. I'm sure he's going to tell that story. I don't want to steal his thunder, but that is, I mean, just coming to hear him is, worth its weight in gold. He also just did an article and interview with Deion Sanders, and he's all over the news, obviously, with what's happening with the Colorado Buffs and the turnaround there, and if they win this weekend, they will have won 5 games. I think they had won 5 games in the previous 2 seasons. So
right.
Don Yeager is a powerhouse individual. So being there for that is fantastic, and then seeing the equipment, playing with what's new, learning what's new. I'll tell you that 2 or 3 years ago, we went to the symposium with one goal in mind, and it was to, connect with the best, what we thought was the best liquid system on the market. And when we did that, it wasn't about the highest price, and it wasn't about the fanciest technologies, and it wasn't about this, but it was about what gave us the best overall value. And, that was huge for us because, we went to SnowX, we went to Camion, we went to VSI, we went to, all of the different booths, and we met those individuals, and we learned from those individuals. And, we decided what was best for us, what was best for our business, and, what changes were coming down the pike. And so we had a really strategic program for attending that symposium, and we found the the partner that we have decided to work with, that we're working with today. And that was huge for us because we really needed to up our game on the liquids. And so I think that the symposium also lends to that, where you have time on the floor, you have time exploring the equipment, looking at the equipment, how's it going to work, what's the price point going to be, and what's going to be good for my business. Because some businesses can roll the Rolls Royce, and some businesses can't roll the Rolls Royce, and some of us need to roll the Honda. And so at the end of the day, we want to see what fits best. And the symposium really gives you that opportunity to compare side by side how products are working, how they're made, what the leadership of those teams looks like, what the responsiveness of the equipment looks like. Because you can buy the best product in the world, but if there's no one there to answer the call or to send you a part at 2:00 in the morning when you're down, it doesn't matter what you've got on your truck. So I love the symposium just from the aspect that it allows the team to do a lot of research and development. And it really allows us, I feel like, to get the best products, in the field, like, the utilization of camera technology that's showing pavement temperatures on site. Like some of those things that you're able to utilize from the symposium are absolutely phenomenal.
That's great to hear.
Yeah.
The equipment is necessary in this field, in this sector. You know that, and having equipment partners is crucial. The points you said were great.
You can't beat it, man. I think it's so important. So that's the third week in June. Listen, if you're interested in coming out to the symposium, it's absolutely fantastic. I bring my whole team out there. I don't know. Not my whole team. That's an exaggeration. We bring 5 or 6 people out there every year. So yep. We have a great time with it. Martin, any final thoughts to leave with our audience today from where you sit?
Yeah, we have maybe some of the theme, if you will, we talk about today is kind of joining, belonging, kind of getting out and meeting people out of your comfort zone. I'll just say that as just encourage people, like, you'll learn more and get better if you get out of your comfort zone. You go attend conferences and events. You join the organizations that are in your field, as well as other, I think, business organizations and communities, and you try to meet people there and try to engage and get involved in some capacity. It takes a little, for different personalities. It takes a few steps to get motivated to do that, because what's easy is kind of sitting behind your desk or behind the phone all day long. What's more challenging is actually getting out and going out and meeting people and developing those relationships. But when you do, and you're a great example of this, Dave, is you're really going to start making connections and business connections and personal connections that are going to be exponential.
Yes, it's very, very true. I think that belonging, that better together mentality is so critical, from being, in a board seat to, just being a guy attending the show. Those partnerships, those relationships are awesome. And I think to just, kind of round that out, better together, it's cool because I'm in Seattle, but I've built awesome relationships with guys in Massachusetts. And like, that's cool because I can call them and ask them, hey, what are you seeing? What's new in the market? What are you pricing? Are you increasing? Are you decreasing? And we can have really awesome conversations about pricing and cost and vendor management, and we can share things with one another that you might not necessarily do with somebody in your own market. So at the end of the day, like, that better together really makes us better. And that's one of the benefits of being a part of an association, a great association like SIMA, this will be the 27th annual symposium this summer in Pittsburgh. So I urge you, join, come on, hang out. It's going to be a great time. Martin, thank you so much for taking the time. It's been an honor and a privilege to speak with you today. Before we end the call, I want to thank our sponsors, Western. Thank you, Western, for sponsoring. Thank you, Frost Cameras, for sponsoring. We appreciate the partnership. Great products if you're in the snow and ice industry. We utilize them today, and we have full confidence in their capabilities at TransBlue. If you liked this podcast, give it a like, give it a share. Drop your comments. We'd love to hear from you. We'd love your feedback. Thank you for participating. We're back every week, same time, 9:15 Pacific Standard Time, Tuesday mornings. We'd love to have you join in and listen to what we're talking about. Martin, thank you so much for your time today. It's been an absolute privilege to speak with you.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me, Dave. Great talking to you, as usual.
Thank you, my friend.
What we do is provide a mini weather station to give you a tailored forecast to those particular locations so you know where and when and what to do in those parts of town. You know there's 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 different ways that people can experience tremendous value having a technology like this.
Introducing the all-new Western Enforcer V-Plow. Engineered with all the features, efficiency, and performance of full-size Western V-Plows, built specifically for your half-ton truck. For more information, visit westernplows.com.